from breaking records with over 100 Grand Prix victories to struggling in the first winless season of his career. Here's how an ex-F1 driver assesses Lewis Hamilton's retirement chances. In fact, he sparked up a new debate on the 2008 World Championship title. Back then, Felipe Massa lost the title to Lewis Hamilton, and even though that was over a decade ago, the feelings of disappointment came up again, right when former F1 Supremo Bernie Ecclestone revealed that one of the races in that season should have been cancelled, and he's talking about the one where the former F1 driver failed to score while Hamilton was on the podium. And that's because at the Singapore Grand Prix, it turns out that Renault ordered Nelson Piquet Jr. to intentionally crash to help his teammate take the win. Not only that, but Ecclestone claims that the F1 chiefs already knew about the cheating scandal but decided not to do anything, mostly because they didn't want another controversy for themselves. And think about it, if that race had been cancelled under those conditions, it would have been like it never happened, and that would definitely switch up the World Championship standings. This means Felipe would have been the world champion instead of Hamilton. Now, even though it might seem like it's too late for that, he's considering legal action. Sure, you can't cancel it anymore, but there's a lot more to consider. I mean, taking the title away from Hamilton is only going to make things worse. It's a 15-year-old scandal that's hanging over him like a rain cloud. Having said that, there are hardly few revelations that are ever going to be as eye-opening, as the former chief executive of F1 said someone else should have been the world champion. And fast forward to 2023, the former F1 driver is now questioning how long Hamilton's got in Formula One. With over 313 Grand Prix under his belt, the 7-time world champion is statistically F1's most successful driver of all time. He even broke the record for most Grand Prix victories, crossing Michael Schumacher's 91 victories. And if that wasn't enough, he's got his eyes set on a record-breaking 8th World Championship title to lock it in. And these are just a few of his countless other accolades. Plus, George Russell stepped in recently as the younger Briton, and he's been outsourcing his teammate ever since, especially when he took the Silver Arrow's only Grand Prix win of 2022. That's exactly why Massa thinks that Russell's presence might be giving Hamilton a much-needed pause over his tenure in Formula One. Is he gonna choose to stop? Only time will tell. But the former F1 driver claims that it's the first time Hamilton's got a teammate like Russell. If anything, he can cause some trouble for the 7-time world champ, and that only creates even more doubts as a Formula One driver. Not to mention, Hamilton's also struggling with motivation right now. Think about it. He enjoyed his success at Mercedes as the unbeaten champion for a couple of years from 2014 all the way until the controversial season finale in 2021. Honestly, if that finale was sorted out and Hamilton got his championship title, Formula One would be at a completely different level right now. But instead, Red Bull's Max Verstappen took the lead, claiming 2 world championship titles in a row and establishing his dominance early on in the 2023 season. The Silver Arrows seem just as far away from Red Bull as they were in 2022, and Massa is questioning whether Hamilton even has the necessary drive to compete at a lower level anymore. Maybe it's time he explored his interests outside the cockpit. In Felipe's words, "It's not easy to find motivation when you have already won everything and drive a Mercedes that's struggling to reach the desired level." Having said that, I gotta admit that his future at Mercedes isn't looking too great right now. In fact, rumors of his retirement are spreading like wildfire. Right in the middle of the 2022 season, Daniel Ricciardo's contract with McLaren ended a year earlier than expected, and that left him without a racing seat for 2023 and non-competitive offers on the table. But while the Australian was set on taking a sabbatical before making a 2024 comeback, Mercedes swooped in with a reserve driver offer for 2023. But this wasn't any offer. Rumor has it the Mercedes team wanted him to stick around as a reserve driver for 2023 just until Hamilton's contract ended. Now, Russell was already impressing the team, especially with his first Grand Prix victory, so he was safe. Meanwhile, Hamilton was in the middle of the first winless season of his career, so it was implied that once he retired, Ricciardo could step in to replace him and team up with Russell for the 2024 season. But it did not take long before the rumor made headlines, and that's when the 7-time champion stepped in, claiming that he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Instead, he's got his eyes set on a record-breaking 8th World Championship title. At the time, team principal Toto Wolff backed backed him up, saying that they were gonna sign a multi-year contract over the winter break. So Ricciardo switched to Red Bull as the team's reserve driver for 2023. Although there's something that still doesn't add up, Hamilton's contract was never finalized, and I think that's probably one of the major reasons why everyone's questioning his retirement. At first, fans figured that he was going to retire by the end of 2023, but leave with his 8th World Championship title. But considering how the first few races went, it doesn't seem like that's happening anytime soon. So there's the burning question: what's Hamilton's plan beyond 2023? And that's when you start questioning his loyalty to Mercedes as well. He keeps insisting that he's never gonna consider leaving the team for another F1 rival, although I don't think he's got a choice anymore. Even Gerhard Berger isn't buying his claim anymore, given the circumstances. Sure, he spent over a decade with the team and won all his Grand Prix and championship titles with them. In fact, he stuck with the Mercedes brand pretty much throughout his entire F1 career. He signed with them back in 1997 and claims that he's gonna be with them until the day he dies. And if he's not planning to stop anytime soon and the team's not extending his contract, then he's gotta switch to another team. And let's not miss out on the most obvious part: the team struggling with the car. Meanwhile, there's also another team that seems to be coming up as a potential option for the 7-time champion, and that's none other than the other top team on the grid, Ferrari. I mean, it's pretty obvious that it'll be his first choice if he decides to leave. He is definitely not going to Red Bull, so that's out of the question. Even Berger claims that he could see a Ferrari switch happening for the Brit. In fact, he goes as far as claiming that almost every single racing driver wants to drive for Ferrari at least once in their F1 career. And you gotta admit, a bunch of the greatest F1 drivers have been there too. Not to mention, Hamilton needs to focus on the fact that he doesn't have a competitive car with his current team. So, if Ferrari can help fix that issue, he just might end up winning his record-breaking 8th World Championship title. And who knows, that might resume his winning streak, or even better, spark up a more interesting rivalry between him and Verstappen. Either way, it's gonna be pretty exciting for fans to see that kind of change for the 7-time world champion. Having said that, let's not miss out on the fact that his retirement is still a pretty big possibility, even if he's the one denying it, because he needs a competitive racing seat, and if he's not willing to make some compromises, he's gonna have to step down. Not to mention, Mercedes might even be thinking about replacing him in the first place. Only time will tell how that works out. Until then, here was everything you needed to know about the ex-F1 driver assessing Hamilton's retirement chances. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.